Facebook. Thank you for joining us today. Our very special guest and host, Dr. Hailey Nelson, will be popping up to join us shortly.
Why, hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Hailey Nelson. I am joining you from the parking lot at Valley Children's Hospital. I'm here in my car because the topic for our episode today is car seats. So I thought, what better place to come and discuss car seats than sitting out here with the ones that are buckled into my car. But I have some friends in the office, so I'm going to let them introduce themselves and why they wanted to talk to you today about car safety.
Hi, my name's Jim Pierce. Hi, my name is Jim Pierce. I'm one of the pediatric surgeons that covers the trauma surgery here at Valley Children's Healthcare. And in addition to being a trauma surgeon here and taking care of kids with surgical conditions, I'm also a dad. I have two daughters. My first foray into car seats was actually when I had a car crash with my youngest daughter in her car seat, and ended up in the hospital, in the children's hospital, having my trauma assessment by a pediatric surgeon, while my daughter fortunately was doing very well, having been restrained fully in an appropriate car seat.
And hi,
wow,
everyone.
that's amazing.
My name is Kristina Pasma, and I'm a registered nurse at Valley Children's Hospital. I'm also a child passenger safety technician instructor, and I'm a mom of 3 kids. So I am so excited to join Dr. Pierce and Dr. Nelson today to talk to you a little bit about car seats and keeping your kiddos safe.
Great. Thank you, guys. And Dr. Pierce, thank you for sharing that personal story about why, how car seats have touched you, and that thankfully you and your family were okay when you were in your accident. So can you tell us, why are car seats, like, that drives home the point of them being important, but what are kind of the important things you want families to know?
Well, there are really 2 big points to make about car seats. The first is that if you're properly using a car seat, it keeps the child in the car. No child will fly out the window. No child is going to become a projectile and get injured elsewhere. The second thing is that a proper use of the car seat will keep them in place and support them to significantly reduce injuries and prevent injuries.
Right. So yeah, that injury prevention piece. Now, there's different types of injuries that you see as a trauma surgeon. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, unfortunately, there are a number of different groups of injuries. Unfortunately, when kids are completely unrestrained, they become projectiles. And kids have very big heads relative to their body size. They almost become missiles. And often, becoming a projectile or being ejected from a car, the child will strike their head and have a very bad head injury. The second group of injuries we see, unfortunately, happens when the car seats are not properly installed, or the children are not well restrained or inappropriately restrained. And in these cases, the injuries, though they might be reduced from not being ejected, you can get secondary injuries from being improperly restrained. When the seat itself isn't secured correctly, the seats can become a projectile, and we have seen car seats eject from cars. Particularly when we're trying to place too many seats in or inappropriate places in the cars. And then unfortunately in the older children, if they're in the wrong car seat size, they may do things like put the seat strap over their back because it doesn't line up in the right place. It's uncomfortable, and that increases their risk of having a body injury from an improper restraint.
Okay, so lots of different ways that children get injured, and I understand we're supposed to keep kids rear-facing for as long as possible. What's the mechanism there for why is rear-facing preferred?
Well, children, they have very large heads, like I had mentioned, and their neck muscles simply aren't as strong. And when you're facing backwards, the padding and support is going to keep the child's head from moving. If you're forward facing, the child doesn't have the strength to keep their head from flying forward.
Yep. I like to think of it kind of like in baseball, so like a catcher's mitt and that ball, and so how the head is kind of kept in the seat as opposed to the forward facing where that neck can just kind of flip forward, and that they can have neck injuries even though they're restrained. So that's really important for the rear facing for those large-headed children. Now, there's also some myths out there. Do you have any myths you would like to bust about car seats and safety?
Well, unfortunately, one of the most common myths we hear about is seatbelts causing injury. You know, an offhanded comment at a scene about, oh, if you'd only not been using the seatbelt was what hurt your abdomen or hurt your arm or hurt your neck. Often it's that we were not properly using the car seat and it was improper use. And these things are tricky. I wasn't the one that installed the car seat for my daughter, right? My wife took the car seat and the car to someone like Kristina there, and we got help. It's not easy. These can be very complicated, but you really, if you use them properly and you get just the brief bit of teaching that you need, you really can prevent the inappropriate use of the restraint and causing the seatbelt to cause an injury.
Gotcha. Thank you. Great tips. And yes, car seats come with the manuals. There's the stickers on the side, and it's not straightforward and easy. And all three of us on the call today, we're all parents. We've all been through this, and it's easier said than done, but that's why we have experts like Kristina. So Kristina, tell us a little bit more about the car seat laws, and then also a little bit about car seats, since you are our resident expert here at Valley Children's.
Sure, absolutely. And I'm glad that Dr. Pierce shared his transparency, because I'm going to share mine too. For 7 years of my oldest son's life, I never touched the seat. That was my husband's responsibility. And it was because I was afraid to do it. I was afraid to do it wrong. And I think it's important for parents to understand that if you're given the right education and you meet with someone that can help you, that this is actually really empowering. Everybody can learn how to do seats. And in California, we're actually really progressive. Our children are an advantage compared to many other states. So just to answer the question about the law, children in California must be rear facing until they're 2 years old or 40 pounds or 40 inches tall. And really best practice is that 40 pounds or 40 inches tall. It's just safer for them to be rear facing longer. Once they're ready to go forward facing, they must be in a car seat or a booster seat until they are 8 years old or 4 foot 9 inches tall. And again, we really recommend that 4 foot 9 inches tall, because at 8 years, most of them, the seatbelt doesn't fit them properly, and they get to some of those injuries that Dr. Pierce was talking about.
Yeah, so important to have that height requirement. And I think I hear a lot from parents about, oh, isn't there a weight limit? I'm like, well, it's more about how big you are so that the seatbelt is coming across and protecting. So you want to go across the bony structures to hold you in, and that we don't always think about seatbelts really being designed for adults, which is why we have car seats and booster seats to make the seatbelt work for your child to be able to really restrain them. Now, with doing all the car seat checkups, I mean, you've checked thousands of car seats. So what are some things that you want parents to know?
Well, first of all, brand does not matter. So if you're buying the seat here in the United States, they all have to pass the same standards. So you need to find one that A, works for your income, B, works with your vehicle, because not every seat is going to fit your car. And probably thirdly is one that's the most appropriate for your children. We often see kids graduated to the next seat, but really before they're ready for that, meaning like a toddler placed in a booster seat before they're ready for it. So again, that's where consulting with a car seat tech or utilizing some resources that like Safe Kids Worldwide has can really help you out.
Great. And we'll include some of those links too after this video, so if parents want to know more about kind of trying to decide which seat their child should be in. And even there's a checklist for how to know if your child's ready to get out of a booster seat. So they might have the height requirement, or they might be that age, but really like following those checklists to see if your child truly is ready for kind of that next step. So we'll include all of that with this video as well. Now, May is a special month for car seats, which is why we timed this video. So can you tell us a little bit about why May is special?
Sure. May is National Child Passenger Safety Technician Month. So this is the month where we recognize the people in our community that go above and beyond to keep our kids safe. So it can be people that work at hospitals or health departments or fire departments or police officers or just ordinary citizens that have decided that keeping kids safe is important to them. And here it gets really hot. We're going into our hot season, and those techs are out there in those cars, out there in the wintertime, in the rain, keeping our kiddos safe. So as the Safe Kids coordinator for Safe Kids Central California, I want to say a very special thank you to all of them for the great work that they do, because it's kind of an unrecognized job. And they do some great work and truly save children's lives.
Yeah, they really do. So thank you, car seat techs, Safe Kids, both in Central California and all over, for all the work that you're doing. We really appreciate what you do. Kristina and Dr. Pierce, thank you for joining me today. Dr. Pierce, I know we talked a lot about the injuries that can happen, and I love that we're discussing car seats so that we can prevent those things. So to remind families, we really want to stay rear facing as long as possible. And that is recommended by the American Academy of Pediatrics. Our California law, again, 2 years or 40 pounds or 40 inches. And so remembering that for the rear facing versus when you go forward, and then staying in the booster till you're 8 or 4'9". Back seat, we didn't talk about that yet, but stay in the back seat until you're 13. So really that the airbags and things are not designed for little people. We need to keep our kids in the back seat. And if you need help, click on the links. We're going to give you the resources so that you can get help getting your car seats installed. I hope you liked this video, and thank you so much for joining us. This was episode 11 already. I can't believe we're having so much fun filming these, and we have more to come. So like and follow us on Facebook for Safe Kids Central California. And we will be back next week discussing home safety with Dr. Nikki Webb. Look forward to seeing all of you. Have a great day.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.